اقرأ كتاب الله ترق جنانه وتنل عظيم الأجر والغفران.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا زدنا علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين. Inshallah, in this chapter we shall be talking about mapping the Arabic language. The first and foremost thing we will be looking at is the word lafz. Lafz literally means to throw out. It refers to all words that are produced by the tongue. Arabic grammarians use this term to refer to articulation because speech involves throwing sounds from the mouth. Now, the sounds that are articulated from the mouth can be something that has meaning, or it could be something which is meaningless. For an example, if I say the word apple, the picture of the apple comes to your head because the word apple has a meaning. Whereas when I say words like ugh, it does not really have a meaning. Therefore, we see that lafz can be divided into two groups. One, meaningful. In Arabic we would say mawdu'. Number two, meaningless. In Arabic we would say muhmal. There's nothing much to be talked about the meaningless muhmal words. But when it comes to the subcategory of mawdu', it is further divided into two. It is divided into single words, mufrad, and compound words, murakkab. First, let's look at mufrad. When it comes to mufrad, that is the single words, it contains three parts. One, ism, that is the noun. Two, fi'l, which is the verb. And three, harf, which is the particle. And when it comes to murakkab, the compound words, it is divided into two parts. One, tam, complete, and two, naqis, incomplete. First, let's look at mufrad. As mentioned previously, mufrad, that is single words, is divided into three categories. That is ism, which is noun, fi'al, the verb, and harf, particles. When it comes to ism, it is not sufficient to say that ism is just the name of a person, object, place, but we also have to remember two more points when it comes to Arabic grammar in particular. That is, ism always conveys a complete meaning, and number two, it has no reference to time. Let's look at some examples for ism. For an example, annas. Now we can see that the word annas is a ism because of the presence of alif lam. Second example, rabbun. We know the word rabbun is a ism because on ba we can see tanween, we see to the mas, and tanween occurs only in ism. So from this we also learn a tip, that is alif lam and tanween appears only in an ism and not in an fi'l. Now talking about fi'l, which is again commonly translated as verb, it tells us about an action, and like ism, fi'l also conveys a complete meaning, but it has a reference to time. That is, a verb could be either in the past, present, or future tense. For an example, khalaqa, he created. Ittaqu, you all fear, which is a command here. Tasa'aloon, you all ask. So we see that in the examples that we just saw for fi'l, we see there is no tanween and there is no alif lam, which is again an indication that it is not a ism, rather it's a fi'l. And when it comes to harf, unlike the ism and the fi'l, harf does not give a complete meaning by itself. Therefore, it has to be linked to a noun or a verb to give complete meaning. Examples of harf would be ala, ila, min, an, and so on. Now let's look at two important sciences when it comes to the study of Arabic grammar. Firstly, it is ilm al-sarf, and secondly, ilm al-nahw. Sarf refers to morphology, whereas nahv refers to syntax. When we are talking about sarf, morphology, we are talking about the study of word formation, and it mostly deals with verbs. So when it comes to study of word formation means we look at the changes that occur in a particular word before it enters a sentence. Whereas in nahv, that is syntax, we study the way in which words are put together to form phrases or sentences. That is the order of the placements of word in a sentence. And we also learn about the changes that occur in a verb because of its interaction with the other words in the sentence. What is nahv? It focuses on words and the haraka on the last letter of each word in a sentence. That is, it focuses on the i'rab. But what is sarf? Sarf focuses on how different words are conjugated from one source, and it defines the haraka of every letter in a word except the last letter. That is, it does not deal with the i'rab of a word, unlike nahv. The most important of the sciences associated with Arabic language is nahv, because without nahv, communication cannot exist. For an example, if we take the two statements, 1. قَتَلَ دَاوُودُ جَالُوتَ, and 2. قَتَلَ دَاوُودَ جَالُوتُ. So in the first statement, we see the difference is that Dawood has a dhamma and therefore is in the state of marfu'. So dhamma is the i'rab, which shows that it is in the grammatical state of rafa'. Whereas Jaluta, the word Jalut, has a fatha and the i'rab is a fatha. It shows that it's in the grammatical state of mansub. So we know that the words that are in the state of marfu' is the subject of the sentence, whereas the word that is in the grammatical state of mansub is the object of the sentence. Therefore, this statement قَتَلَ دَاوُودُ جَالُوتَ will be translated as Dawood killed Jalut, where Dawood is the subject who is doing the act of killing and Jalut is the object on which the action of killing is done on. But when it comes to the second sentence, where the word Dawood has a fatha and the word Jalut has a dhamma, we see that the meaning is completely the opposite. Because in this sentence, the word Dawood with the i'rab of fatha, which shows that the word Dawood here is the object, and Jalut with the dhamma, it becomes the subject. So the meaning would be Jalut killed Dawood. This is just one example, but this itself shows how by the simple change of haraka can bring about a big difference in meaning. In fact, it brings about the complete opposite meaning. So with this, we see the importance of the ilm sarf and ilm nahv especially, and let us appreciate this knowledge and learn more about it so you can understand the Quran better and recite it with more understanding. With this we shall end. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.